call, please.
Councilmember Barrett.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bisbal.
Here.
Councilmember Ellis.
Here.
Councilmember Gazelle.
Here.
Mayor Kuchar.
Here.
Councilmember Kusick.
Here.
Councilmember Seaver.
Present. On pages 3 to 6, we have last month's March 19th council meeting. Please review, and if it's in order, I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. On pages 7 to 13, we have different boards, committees, and commission minutes. Again, we're accepting them in the public domain. I need a motion to accept.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Public comment? Any public comment? A nice smiley face.
Good evening. I want to speak about the recycling. From what I've been reading the last couple of weeks, the recycling companies put their stuff in a dumpster and it goes into a landfill, just the way our DPW does, takes our trash and puts it into a landfill. So why are we paying for recycling when it's doing the same thing that our DPW guys do?
I don't know if that's the case. I don't know.
Have you seen those guys putting the stuff into the truck? Everything. Nothing is separated. And I don't know how. And as a matter of fact, sometimes I put like a little small tin can inside of a box. No way would they be able to get that out.
Where they sort it at the recycling.
It's single source.
Have you seen them do it? 'Cause what I've been reading is that all of these recycling companies just put it into a dump, into a landfill. So then what happens? Oh, really? So I pay for it whether they pick up anything at my house or not?
So you should put all your trash in there. Because that way we incur less landfill cost.
Oh,
If it goes into our truck and we take it to the landfill,
yeah.
we pay by the ton. We pay by household with the recycling company. Am I right, Brett?
All right, so then it's better for me to recycle.
Absolutely.
Yes, the economics have changed. I mean, Bruce is right. China won't buy anything that's contaminated, and the definition is pretty restrictive in terms of what they will buy anymore.
Well, I'm glad I brought it up because I was under the impression that, we're paying for something we really don't have a use for.
I think our charge is around 56 cents per home, 1,100 homes.
Okay.
I mean, somewhere in that neighborhood. No, it was much more. It was like 50-some cents per home, I believe. Brett would know. Brett, the overall cost of recycling, how much of that is per home? Do you know?
I believe it's like $3.50 or $3.80.
Oh, per month? Per home? Okay. Because when I looked at it, it's about $30-some thousand a year, isn't it?
Well,
So almost $30,000 a year then. Okay.
All right, so I should recycle.
Yes, please.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Brett and I talked about that a little last week. He helped me out for I know somebody that wants to buy some recycling, and they recycle in Troy and Royal Oak and outside the airport.
Oh, wow. Okay. Any more public comment? If not, the next item is we have a proclamation of Vicki Granger. Vicki, would you please step forward? And Mike, would you come up forward too? Thank you, Vicki. I would like to comment. We have a proclamation with you on your behalf. Whereas Vicki Granger, a longtime resident of the city of Oak Grove, has served the community above and beyond all things and movement to do. And whereas Vicki Granger has been a strong presence at Unified Community High School since 1982, with her contributions to the development of Stafford High School to so valuable. received the 2019 recipient of the John Hunter Gold Award. This award is given to a person who serves yourself in employment activities and develops a person's skills to continue to exemplify the meaning of life and life. Whereas this brings in the 50 as the first female honoree of this award, she makes a significant difference in life and represents of the youth activity. She has worked in the English department, taught in many places in English, composition, journalism, was the moderator of the Street newspaper from 1982 to 2004, and the school director of the American Society from 1995 to 2006. This occasion is accomplishing our notices and our dedication to each community is notified of the meeting of those communities for us. Whereas each stranger has demonstrated history is very active in the community, serving on the Grossmont Board Student Council since 1997. The Friends of the Grossmont, the League of Women and Women of Grossmont, and the Grossmont History Grant of the American Association of University Women, as well as the 2018 recipient of the Community Service Award issued by the Grossmont City Council. Now therefore, I, Mayor Richard Gursky, the City Council and residents of the village of Grosse Pointe Shores, here in the pride felt by Vicky husband Mike and son Sean and Brian, and congratulate her on outstanding achievement with this latest award gift. And we have another award gift for you. Look at Mike. We have our book and our little penalty, the pile, and then up here. The honorary goes for member of our school. The Girls' Points are a family and stick together. Yes, Charlie, you're cool now.
I am so honored that all of us members, Mark, Coach of American University, City of Illinois, John Schulten, Charles' son, looking down, Bob Giselle, Charles' sons, they are both I did not touch that. I'm so passionate about George is our resident spot.
Thank you, Vicki. Thanks, Mike. Thank you for all you do for the Girls' Pointe community. Now we have a proclamation for Arbor Day. Where's Brett? Oh, there it is. And Helen, why don't you come forward? So Brett, again, we're happy to issue a proclamation. Helen, we're very proud. We're really happy because of all the work that you do. So Arbor Day proclamation, whereas in 1872, Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. Whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen and provide habitat for wildlife. Whereas trees are a renewable resource and give us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other good products. Whereas trees in our city increase our property value and beautify our community. Trees are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, myself, as the mayor of St. George, and our city council and residents, we issue this proclamation to support our efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. I urge all citizens to plant sacred trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Credit the chairperson of our tree committee, Helen, and they work tirelessly to review our inventory, which is how many thousand trees in our current inventory? 3,200 trees that are on Grosse Pointe Trails property that we can improve, thanks to your help. Okay, thanks, Alan. Thanks, Brett. All right, the next item, 10. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not, oh, okay, sorry, chief, let's do that.
It was later in the agenda, but I was just
Oh,
hoping to thank you.
okay.
Well, Officer Tony Spina could not be with us for March, and he is with us for April. And we have a couple of awards for, this is Officer PSO Tony Spina. Two of the awards are unit commendations, which we had talked about in March, where members of the department work as a group. I won't reread these, but one of these was the fire that occurred in Grosse Pointe Woods, where Tony and Sergeant Coast and Michael O'Brien deployed the pre-connect line from our engine to maintain fire operations. And Tony is receiving a unit commendation for this service as well as for the rescue that he worked on with those same two officers. Which brings us to the life-saving award. On 27 December 2018 at 5:31 in the morning, Grosse Pointe Farms dispatch broadcast that OnStar was reporting a motor vehicle crash at Lakeshore and Lockmore, and that the vehicle had entered Lake St. Clair. However, communication with the vehicle was lost by OnStar. PSO Tony Spina responded and was first on the scene. He observed the red glow of the vehicle's submerged taillights approximately 30 yards off the brake wall and attempted to visually locate the victim in the water, who had now extricated himself from the vehicle. Tony reported the victim was clearly struggling for help, and fearing hypothermia, he quickly made the decision to attempt a rescue. Without any consideration for his own safety, and with no lifeline or rescue gear, Tony entered the water, 37-degree water, and pulled the victim to the wall. Tony secured and held the victim along with the brake wall and waited for additional personnel to assist in lifting the victim out of the water. After further investigation, it was learned that the 24-year-old male motorist was eastbound on Lockmore, failed to stop at a stop sign, crossed 4 lanes of lakeshore traffic, and went into the lake. The winds that day were 14 miles an hour, the temperature was 36 degrees, and there were 1 to 2 feet waves on the brake wall. Patrol Supervisor Sergeant Ron Coast and PSO Zeph Boyai successfully lifted the victim out of the water to the awaiting ambulance. All 3 of his officers are paramedics who immediately treated the victim for his wounds. It is my pleasure to award PSO Tony Spina the life-saving award. And we have one additional award for Officer Spina tonight. PSO Spina has been selected by me to win. He will be awarded the 2018 Director's Award. Just a highlight of his training, Tony is a 19-year veteran, paramedic, field training officer. He's a senior member and assistant tactical commander of the Eastern Wayne County Special Response Team. He has numerous SWAT certifications, too many to count. A rescue diver, certified in Macomb and Wayne County Emergency Medical Service with the Medical Control Authorities, and a tactical medical instructor. He is certified in Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, firearm, rifle, shotgun, gas deployment, you name it. He has several investigator certificates as well, and he jumps in and helps the Detective Bureau when they need assistance. After review of the file, Tony has more training and many other He has more training and any other certificates of any officer under my command. That's a 40-year history. Tony is constantly requesting training, and much of it he has attended on his own time. He has the most complete resume of training and of any officer I think I've ever known. He is certified police in areas of police, fire, and EMS. He represents the best of the training. He volunteers for it. He goes on his own time, and some of it he pays for himself. The other side of this is who Tony is. He is willing to act, to teach his fellow officers, and perform consistently at the highest level. There is no job that Tony will not volunteer for and complete to the best of his ability. Like the award states, the Director's Award recipients are not bound by what is expected, but what is required to perform the job with excellence. It is my pleasure again to award Tony Spina the Director's Award.
Thank you, Chief. We're so lucky to have you, Tony. You make an invaluable contribution to the city and keep us safe. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next item is item 10, public hearing. The city council will move to sit in as a ZBA, zoning board of appeals. I need a motion to move into a public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. This is the commencement of the public hearing. Mary, would you like to recite the application?
Good evening, council and mayor. The public hearing is Mr. 31 Renaud, variance request by Mr. Kruger. And he would like, actually it's 3 feet and 5 inches variance due to that the lot is, it's kind of like a pie shape, and the home was built many years ago, and he wanted to extend 3 feet and 5 inches into the variance is for that. For his family who dines like 40 people, and he doesn't have enough room there, and if he would go back instead of to the side, then he would need a larger variance, and there is also a tree that they were trying to preserve. So, in that case, I believe Mr. Kruger is here, come on, yeah. And the planning commission voted unanimously, although we had some members missing at the time. And Councilman Giselle abstained because he was to vote on it today. But it was a unanimous vote. And if you have any question of Mr. Kruger, he is here.
Mr. Kruger, would you like to come forward and tell us more about the project, or?
I would like to also add that no neighbors were objecting to it. Of course, their home is right next, their own home is next to their home. So they own about 5 pieces of property there. And there's one person that came in and he was in favor of it.
Who's here today, I see. Hi, Robert.
So, and the family does not object to this, despite the Kruger family, because they own all those homes next to one another.
Well, it's an unusual
So it
application.
is.
Our city planner called it a minor variance. It's, there's a standard we have to meet, but again, everyone was in support. I think the record needs to reflect that this is really truly a unique situation. The contiguous property are owned by all one property. So the variance is a variance for yourself, against yourself, essentially. There's no burdening of the adjacent land because you are the owners, the family is the owners of the 6 contiguous parcels. So the record needs to reflect that. And also, it's an irregular shape of a lot. Again, I was at the planning commission meeting, and Robert, one of the neighbors who's within the 300-foot radius, was there not to complain, but to indicate that this was something he supported. Our city planner seemed to only be concerned about maybe smoke possibly being visible from the street that could affect any air rights that neighbors might have. But, you know, until the record needs to reflect that, I mean, these 5 considerations need to be followed. The strict enforcement of the requirement would unreasonably deprive the owner of rights enjoyed by other property owners. And again, since you own the contiguous properties, the adjacent properties, there's no harm there. 2, the requested variance will not cause an adverse impact on surrounding property values, or the use and enjoyment of property nearby. Again, because you're the owners of the contiguous lots, to me, it doesn't seem like there's a violation. The conditions and circumstances are unique to the subject property. I've already indicated that this is a very unique application because the ownership is involving multiple parcels that are adjacent to this subject of variance. For the requested variance will not confer special privileges that are denied other properties similarly situated. Well, I don't think we have other properties similarly situated because of the contiguous nature of the other family property owners. The requested variance is the minimum variance necessary to do substantial justice, and the requested variance will not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the chapter. Again, our planner called this a minor variance.
And Mayor, the house is set at an angle, and they did not build the home. It was there, how they built it, I don't know, but they have to work with what is in there in order to extend anything or add or delete or whatever. And another thing they need is I think the overhang. I'm trying to find the section here. I think it's like 3 feet where they have like a canopy overhang. And so that's part of
The application. Well, at this point, this is a public hearing. Does anybody want to say anything, either for or against the applicant's special land use permit?
I've got just a couple things that, I've got this here, and it's out of, what do you want to call it, variance right now, right? I mean, the way it sits now without the new addition or anything like that. And you're just adding to it. And it's gonna extend a little bit further than it already is.
3 feet and 5 inches.
You're asking for 41 inches, right?
And if you turned the house, it would still be out of variance. That's what I read in this thing here. So it's out. Yeah, because the house kind of sits on the property like side, just a little bit tilted. So if you made the house straight, that would still be in the setback zone.
Yes, they would need a variance. Is that what you're implying?
Well, it's got a variance already evidently, right? Because it's in there.
Well,
Well, it's a prior non-conforming use.
Robert, would you like to come forward? I'd like your comments to be part of the record.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Ertzbischoff. I'm, as the mayor mentioned, I'm a neighbor within 300 feet. And I originally came to show, unsolicited, came to show support for one of our fellow citizens of improving his house. It's the little details that make everybody love their home, besides what the city does for us with our funds and their tax dollar, that everybody likes the neighborhood and that. And I think it's the little things that really make a house a home when you get to add things that you really want to add. You didn't build the home. And it's just a simple example. Our new turnaround right here on Lakeshore, that's going to save a lot of headache. And if you ever notice, Grosse Pointe Farms, you have to pass up Moras to get into their park. And I think you all have shown the wisdom that, we trust in you to do those things. So hopefully you see that. I'm here to support this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for coming. And at the planning commission meeting as well. Is there any other public comment? Well, then at this point, Gary, do you have anything to add? I know you made the motion, I believe, didn't you? Okay. And the motion, was it unanimous or?
Yes.
Okay. Well, at this point, as we close the public hearing, I ask the council sitting as the ZBA, if there's no other council comments, then to affirm the motion granted by the planning commission to allow this special land use variance. Is there a motion?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, congratulations. Okay, thank you for coming. The next item, Rhonda. Reports by chairpersons.
Good evening, everyone. In your packet, you have a list of the wire transfers for the month of April. As you can see, there's really just a normal payroll and Blue Cross premiums, along with prescription coverage. Nothing new there. Also in your packet, you have a list of checks issued since the last meeting. We had checks for water meters, gasoline, board of review members, ammunition, a check for Grosse Pointe Farms for our agreement for the dispatch lockup in court. For Zard Electric, there was a number of accidents that were paid out this past month, and also the barrier gate for the park entrance. Do you have any questions regarding any of the checks issued?
I do, of course I do. It was for the fiber ring services to Hitch
Yes.
Joseph Wagner. What is that? I didn't.
Last thing that we agreed, there was work done by not having the application community, some time ago, some other thing, that there was a split among the communities, so we paid it, and each of the communities still took in
Right, so even though it's a $3,000 number, it's $500 and some dollars is coming from each.
So we're not paying that anymore, right? We're
This
done
is
with
the last bill, we're not participating.
Okay, and then that, for SAR, the accident to move the street light at $15,490. Is there somewhere that we can show that we have been reimbursed for this type of, accident so that it doesn't go low, 15,000 and,
That's for all of
some?
the moving of the street out of
$6,000 for that, and we're gonna be reimbursed from that. And then on the street, the accident, the chief bills out for the insurance companies if an insurance company is involved in the case at all. Otherwise, it's up to the court to proceed with that.
Okay, and then to the Anderson, Eckstein, and Wester. Driveway, Saw Grant tennis court, I'm
Right,
assuming.
there was several invoices.
24,700 on top of, it's like every month we keep having all of these big bills. I thought we were said and done with this.
The SAW grant, for one, is an ongoing item. In the tennis courts, I believe it should be done now with any engineering bills on that. And then the driveway, as long as the project is still going on until it's finalized out, there will be some fees there.
So so this Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick is a consulting or an engineering firm? Okay. When they're awarded the contract, it's a set amount, or is this, as Bruce says, seepage? Creepage, I'm sorry, creepage. Creepage,
rhymes.
seepage, same thing. Is this what we agree to, or does every month, something else is added, something else is added, something else is
I
added?
believe it is all part of the contract.
Yeah,
Brett and Mark.
These, usually on a thorough basis, there's testing that they pay for, on those, this is just part of their supervision of the project. So as you know, if possible, we do projects without necessarily having the engineering.
Colonial would be back with,
HRC.
DTE, so we'll be testing that. And we get, well, we just did testing. Not having anything.
Okay, is somebody minding the store with this? Because you've got Hubble Rock HRC down here for another 5,000, some SAW grant, and you have this. I mean, is somebody watching that we don't getting billed every month
Oh,
for? Yes? Okay.
We use two different engineering firms.
Sure.
That's the reason. Whole Rock is the sewer guys,
Okay.
Internet. And Anderson is the road guys. We don't mix the two because when we initially went out for quotation, their prospectuses, each one has a better expertise. You ask Whole Rock to do road stuff, they're capable of it, but their cost would be basically twice what Anderson's is, vice versa.
Okay.
So we try to focus on where we need them and that, and where, like Mark said, where we have the ability to go solo. With a lot of the road work was just cut base to the cash road work that we've been doing. We don't use anybody, we just do it ourselves, so we do the consultant.
Okay.
Rhonda, there's a payment to Hubble Roth for the Ford House water study for
Yes.
1,600. Are we gonna get reimbursed for that?
I believe on that one, no.
Okay. And then the payment to Grosse Point Farms for lockup, is that a quarterly payment?
Yes, it is.
26,000. Okay. Do anybody else have any questions about the check?
Follow for hydraulic repair.
That's for the fire truck.
That's the truck, it wasn't the new job, so I think. No.
Any other questions?
You're still not getting the new truck, I don't care. You get a 2x4.
And this,
quick.
wow, the internet, phones, cameras. Okay.
That was 2 months worth there.
Okay.
It's around $1,800 a month.
It's a busy month. The check register runs 342,000. If there's not any other questions, I need a motion to approve the check register run.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thanks, Rhonda.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Financial reports? Rhonda, there was a payment, pension plan reimbursing for general employee refund, 24,500. What was that? I don't remember that. It's in the pension report.
That,
It's an odd number. It's 24,547.
right, because I just took 1/2 of what the general fund will be reimbursed from the pension system for whether it's administrative, audit, you know, I know the insurance is separate, but to reimburse the general fund for expenses that have been paid on behalf of the pension system.
Oh, okay, okay. Because, yeah, it says general, it's the first line item, general employee refund, 24,547. It's an odd number, and 85 cents is, so. Was it done on a percentage basis?
Well, it's 45,000 is the total that will be reimbursed.
Because administrative, at this point, year-to-date, was 23,675. And it's almost very similar.
22,500 was for to reimburse the general fund for administrative.
Okay, okay, so it's a transfer, okay. And that's when we had an actuarial cost year-to-date of almost 31,000. Okay, thanks, Rhonda. Bruce, Finance Committee?
You're gonna do the financial report?
Well,
Finan-
as far as the budget, we're still on track this year. There'll be some changes to amend the budget come June, but at this point, I'm still showing a positive year end.
And I understand we only have 5 people protest their taxes, is that right, for the board review?
I'm thinking it's more like 8 maybe.
8 total. But
Any
no-
favorable to the resident?
Okay, so nothing like the Michigan tax court, no?
Well, we won't know until
Yeah, okay.
June, yeah.
Thanks, Rhonda. Bruce?
Finance Committee met last week, we went through the first, what do we call it, first final draft of the budget, where at that point, we had invited the council to a meeting Thursday night, a joint meeting with the Finance Committee to give the council members an opportunity to express any concerns, wishes, desires, whatever. and you have a packet that was handed to you today with the preliminary budget, preliminary tax rates, and some options that we'll further discuss on that date. So that will be on Thursday. The next Finance Committee meeting will be first week in May, May the 1st, April 30th. May the 1st, that'll be the date we'll finalize the budget for the public hearing, notice, and then we're gonna vote on it at the May council meeting on June. The budget this year is, as every other year, it's a stretch. So, if you want to see all the details come through, you're welcome, one and all.
All right, thanks, Bruce. Next item, public safety. Chief?
Good evening again. I just wanted to touch on one thing before I start, and that is the reimbursement. We had a rather rough December to February for light bills. Don't stand in here near any of them. We lost 4. One at 1017, one at closer to 1100, one at Vernon Lakeshore, and one at South End in the accident.
How many uninsured? Was it two?
Well, the one at 1017 southbound was uninsured, and we're attempting to recover that in court. I haven't gotten into the one on the fatal accident at the South End, but one of them we got on camera, but there was such heavy snow we couldn't plate. So there's still open cases, and we're looking for them. We're going to probably recover 2 of these 4. And when they do a complete job on the pole, it's between $6,000 and $7,000 to replace the pole. So we do the best we can, and I'm all over the insurance companies for recovery. So we had a perfect record for the last 3 years has been spoiled. We had 1 stolen auto out of Sunningdale. Auto theft is becoming high tech. We've been in touch with the Action Task Force, which is the stolen car task force that operates in Grosse Pointe Park, through all the Grosse Pointes, Harper Woods. And what they think happened is they now have devices that, for example, you have a key that has a chip in it, and normally the vehicle won't start unless you recognize the chip. Well, we now think they have devices that will learn the codes of the car. And technology is wonderful if used in the right fashion. We're still working with, we're not exactly sure how they did it, but we found some sample video of how they're trying to boost these cars. And once you learn the code, they think it's the owner. Both keys were with the homeowner, and this is a Chrysler product, so we're continuing to look for it, but that's the technology that is kind of running away here. So I wanted to offer a thank you to Brett and his DPW crews for assistance. They've assisted us in the weight room, the security garage, the range. Brett will touch on that more in just a minute. I wanted to let everyone know that I am going to be putting something in the May newsletter, the electronic newsletter, which we encourage everyone to sign up for because it has a pretty concise all departments report in the newsletter, various topics that are coming up. It's a really easy way to obtain information. But I'm going to put something in there about the amended fireworks ordinance that Brian worked on, so everyone will understand the ordinance and how we're going to enforce it this year with the limited hours and dates. So, finally, as I was speaking to Mary Matuja this afternoon, as everyone knows, the frequency of fraud, telephone fraud complaints are up. I don't know about your cell phone, but mine rings pretty much daily. If it's not in my directory, I don't pick it up. But there's been a lot of fraud requests for your nephew has been locked up. He needs $8,500. I got an email. Rhonda and I both got emails from one of our vendors who said, "I'm out of town, John. Could you please get a gift certificate for my daughter and mail it to me? I'm out of town. I really want to get her a gift certificate." And my encouragement to anyone who is confronted with them is if they're asking you for any information or anything personal, financial, is to terminate the call and not to engage them. So I get calls almost daily, certainly weekly, in regards to fraud complaints. So it's a huge business, and the only way we can not become victims is to not engage it.
Thank
If you have
you,
any
Chief.
questions, that's all I have tonight.
Chief, on the key fob thing, they did a special on TV a few nights ago, and I was watching it. What they do is they've got this device that basically is a mobile device, and they select the car they want to steal, and they'll go to, like, let's say they go to a mall or a Starbucks or whatever, and they park right next to the car with the device, waiting for the owner to come out. And when they hit the key fob, it receives the signal and memorizes it. And then they follow you home, and then know where the car is at, and later on come back and open it. So if you can find out where that car that was stolen was that day, there might be video of them parked next to that car. But that's
Similar to cloning a phone.
yeah, but that's how it's done. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, high tech. Well, thanks, Chief. I know in the past I heard that at gas stations it's very dangerous to swipe your card because a car in that parking lot could also capture your data from that card and then use it, for whatever wishes that they want. So, crazy world we live in. All right, Brett, how are things with Public Works?
Public Works is very busy right now. Whenever there's a season change, that's when things go haywire. Anyway, thanks again for the opportunity to speak. I'm going to try to speak fast and be brief. As I mentioned earlier, your DPW staff has been quite busy since our last meeting. The grounds crews have been able to get outside and start our spring cleanups. They've also started the restoration work around our new gatehouse and our park entrance. We've started water main break repairs. Usually we dig up the ground in in the wintertime with when we have to repair our water mains, and they usually sit all winter, so we're getting those started. And we're also praying that the grass doesn't start growing for a while because we don't have any seasonal employees yet. So our Bellmead paving project will get its walkthrough soon, probably next week. And once that's complete, we'll establish a punch list for that project to be finalized. And as mentioned earlier, the new turnaround is going along smoothly. The contractor is doing a good job. The project is well underway. And so far we haven't had any big hiccups. The concrete was poured the last couple of days here. We're going to have to wait a week for that to get hard before they can start paving. And again, things are moving smooth. DTE, just a reminder, we'll be paving Colonial Road. I haven't had the opportunity to have another walkthrough with them, but that is something that's on our list for this spring. After that paving is complete, we'll get together and do a punch list with all the repairs that need to be done as far as irrigation and grounds repair from when they did their gas work. If you remember, they worked right deep into the fall last year, and we're not really allowed to get any restoration work done there. And Fred Lees is currently working with Bob Heckman over at the pool, trying to get that ready for Memorial Day. He's also got a lot of work to do in the park and harbor, so they've been very busy. And our gardener, Kevin Hartman, has been busy working on our grounds, getting beds ready for spring planting. A lot of work has been done, and a lot of work needs to be done yet before we're ready. You may have noticed we've had a few breakdowns on our garbage trucks lately. This has kept Scott and Nick very busy working on them. In fact, we had a number of days a couple weeks ago where we had no garbage trucks on the road. So we had to borrow a couple trucks, and a big thank you goes out to Grosse Pointe Farms who let us borrow a truck for a day, and Grosse Pointe Park who let us use the truck for a few days. We currently have two of our trucks back on the road, and one is the one that we didn't repair in-house is still in the shop getting repairs.
Is that the one you put a new floor on, a new steel floor?
On the road.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the newest truck.
The newest truck is in the shop.
That's the one we got with the grant money about 7-8 years ago?
Yes.
164,000 or?
I forget what year it was.
Not that long ago, too, about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, but that's the one that's in the shop. The old ones we were able to fix up and put back on the road. One of the trucks had to get some major repairs done, and they worked night and day on it. And
I had guys guarding them, so no police officers would go up and talk to them. We had to keep them focused to get those repaired. But either way, 2 of the 3 are back on the road. You may have also noticed our elevator was down for a few days, or maybe even a week. More than a week. Sorry, Rhonda. But I'm happy to say we did find some parts for that, and that was put back in service last Friday. You may have also noticed DTE working at 1100 Lakeshore, finally putting some wire in the ground for that water main extension project. The wire is in. There's some minor electrical work that has to be done yet. They have to actually connect the transformer to the meter pit, and hopefully we'll be finalizing that project out soon. Mike Way has been very busy again. Still, I should say, not again, working on the water meter replacement program. He currently has just under 150 meters to go. Anyone that has not had their water meter updated, please feel free to give us a call. I think we have reached out to everyone in the community, so we're going to have to possibly send out some letters and get a little more aggressive in making our appointments. DPW has also been working on updating and remodeling some things for the police department, specifically the police workout room and the gun range. The police workout room had some mold in the walls, so we would completely remove the walls, resheeted them, and painted them. And they had a contractor come in and resurface the floor. And we've also had the time to completely repaint the gun range, both the walls and the floor. So things are looking pretty good there. We also had some issues in the, call it Sallyport. We call it the security lockup. We've had a lot of issues with drains plugging up in there, so we literally had to cut out the floor and put a catch basin in the middle of the floor in that room. So that's been completed, and things are working out well there as well. Also, the floor was coated with the same product that went down in the police workout room. Our street sweeper's been able to get through the village once this spring. We expected to have out, forgive me, I did this a couple days ago. We started again this morning, getting the street sweeper back out for a second time around. There's a lot of cleanup out there. Potholes, it puts a lot of gravel on the roads, and now we have the spring buds and stuff, so the street sweeper's gonna be quite busy for a while. Also, coal patch crew has been out only as needed. We haven't had enough manpower to send them out there for a day at a time. So again, I would encourage your help. If you see something that needs attention, feel free to give us a call. We can get on the list and get that repaired as soon as possible. And I think that's all I have for this evening. I'm sure I'm missing something, but if you have any questions, I can try to answer them.
Any questions for Brett?
Did we lose a splash guard?
There's some minor repairs that need to be done over there. We
Okay.
lost a few feet. Are in contact with Councilman Seeley, and arrangements are being made to get them put back up. We had a very heavy northeast storm.
So that wasn't even ice,
That was just water and wind. Yeah,
It looked like a violent sea. I've never seen it like
Yeah,
that.
it was pretty rough. So,
Saturday morning or,
to be missing a few pieces of splash guard, I think that's great. That wall did a phenomenal job. We have some extra steel in stock, and we're going to get that welded back up as soon as possible.
I've already made new supports that are a little beefier. The problem that we have with the way that our wall is configured is it's facing north and then bends 90 degrees and faces east. So the water travels along the wall, and when it makes that turn, the water has so much inertia that it goes over the top of the splash guard, and then you have this enormous amount of water that's behind the splash guard, and the weight of it wants to just push it forward as it's draining out. And the other day, the waves were so high and the velocity was so great that it went not only over the splash guard but all the way up to one of the lookouts. You know, those little patio lookouts that we have. There's 4 of them, and literally smashed out all the railing on that lookout. That's how hard the water was hitting. So the fact that we really didn't lose the rock that we put down, everything's pretty much intact, and we made it through an icy winter where the yacht club literally lost a big section of wall from ice flows, I think, it's turned out to be a good thing.
Thanks, Brett.
How much longer on the corner? On their 13th try over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably had that in here and I didn't mention it. Thank you. DTE is currently removing a abandoned gas vault. They abandoned that vault when they put the new one in, and did all the repairs. And now that they are done, for the most part, in Grosse Pointe Shores, they're coming back and taking that vault out. The original plan was to cave the walls in and fill it up. Well, we have a water main in that area, and they've been gracious enough to remove it rather than just cave it in after a little persuasion. So,
Brett, some of the aprons to streets like Woodland Shore, I think Lockmore might be one, or there's like a 12-foot section that are in rough shape. My neighbor, Dr. Gannon, mentioned it to me 6-7 times.
I'm sure that was on the list for last year,
Okay.
and it did not get done because we had that early cold weather. That actually caused a lot of trouble with us for paving projects, specifically Belmead and Colonial. We couldn't even pave those roads. Belmead we got done, but it was awful cold. Colonial they didn't do, and that approach was on the list to get done, which is something
Okay.
that didn't happen,
Okay,
but
good.
it'll be happening soon.
Good. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks,
Thank
Brett.
you.
Thanks, Brett.
Park Committee, Doug?
I have just a couple things. We didn't meet last month, and so we are meeting on the 7th of May here at 9 o'clock. So if anybody wants to come to that, you're welcome. The other day we were out there decorating for Easter egg hunt, and there was a lot of dog dookie in there. And I don't know, coming from dogs, but I thought, people cleaned up after their dogs. Do we have the same problem in the fenced-in area? There was enough over there that,
Are you sure it wasn't geese?
No, because the geese were all cleaned out. And the poop, there was no poop there for geese. This was dog or human. God forbid. It's probably
Or
dog.
horse?
Because I know the chief got animals. So, but, we have the park open still, right? Anybody can take their dog out there right now?
Not after tonight.
Memorial Day? So they can take it right up until Memorial Day.
Some people bring their dogs in there in the winter, which is allowed, and they take the dog off the leash and it gets on a site, and then they have to control it.
I don't know, it's quite a bit. Maybe we need to rethink that. I don't know. I mean, it's,
The harbor opens the 15th, which was, what, the other Monday. Do we let the dogs in once the harbor's open?
We did last year, but no,
I think what we're gonna have to do, and maybe something to bring up to the Parks Committee, that courtesy wise and helpful to these, regular geese chasing dog. If people are not taking care of their animals, then we may need to.
okay.
I can tell you I was at the Easter egg event on Saturday, and there were hundreds of people there, lots of little kids running around. We had the petting zoo, the Easter bunny. It was a really nice event for families and a lot of fun. And they were all running around the grounds, and I was talking to a lot of people, and I it seemed like it was fine. So maybe this is going on around the perimeter of the park or whatever, or maybe the DPW did some cleanup. I mean, the staff was there and doing a great job. Handed out candy, and the Food Foundation was there handing out water and donuts. It was nice, really nice. Park looked great.
Thanks, Doug.
And then spring planning is going to be coming up pretty soon too, so we're looking for anybody that wants to help us with that. I don't know exactly when it is, 22nd? I don't know where it's in.
Yeah, okay.
That's all.
All right, thanks, Doug. Harbor Committee? John and Matt?
Good evening, council. Good evening, mayor. I spoke with Tom yesterday in regards to what his thoughts have been for the past couple weeks regard to the harbor repairing it, and he consulted Malcolm Marine, and they believe that there's not enough pilings have popped to warrant having a barge come in to fix it. And he's also working on quotes for capping the remainder of the southwest harbor wall, which I don't know what the quote is. He didn't tell me that part. The really good news is we have 4 wells left to rent, and we have 22 non-residents and 105 residents, which have.
Good.
So, and he has 1 out of 4 that is tentative, so that I would assume that 3 left to go. So it's really, really.
Wow, it's our best year ever.
That's really good.
Real good.
And we also came up with an idea to send out letters to all the renters that if they're not in compliance, they are going to be asked to move to a compliant well if possible immediately, and not let it linger on the whole season. There isn't a space for them, but next year we'll definitely have to go to a compliant well. Making headway there. And then he also informed me that our Grosse Pointe Shores Harbor is now part of the Clean Green Agreement.
Good work. Good work. Yeah. Very
Thing to have in your pocket.
Have you made any decisions about who's gonna keep our harbor up this summer?
It's under advisement.
And I'm talking about the decking and the sweeping or the roof off of there and making sure that the weeds are all picked up.
I'm privy to a lot of those conversations. I do believe it's been discussed and the gears are going, so to speak. So, that would be a really good.
great. Yeah. Matt, would you like to add anything?
No, just that, there's been dialogue going on between the city and the yacht club talking about the possibility of the yacht club's harbor master and support staff maintaining our harbor instead of us. We had a intern the last couple of years. We've had other, employees of the park that are trying to, keep up with the seaweed and trash floating in the harbor. And John, you've been unbelievable with policing the way that boats are out in the runway, maybe moored incorrectly, wrong size for whatever well they're in. I mean, we owe a debt to Dr. Siegel for everything he's done, but ultimately, I think it would be a good thing for us if we can let the professionals that happen to share the same harbor as we do manage the few slips we have. So it's right now it's in the preliminary stages, but that's where we're at.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, John. Infrastructure, Bob?
I got nothing new to add, but Brett talks about his truck, but his men did to get that truck back on the road. It's real amazing. You get a chance to stop by and explain it to you. Because there's no place to take it, get it back in a short period of time. They actually designed the parts to repair the truck. So, there's a lot of good things go on in that yard. And the repairs on that truck. It's amazing. And that's why he keeps them on the road for the couple years. Because he knows how to take care of them.
Yeah.
And the men really step up to the plate. I have nothing on the infrastructure right now, so.
Okay.
One thing, we've been talking with our team one another regarding the seawall. Nice shaking through cages, and hopefully we can get together and start coming up with a way to talk about scope of project, funding, and maybe ultimately get a new seawall along Lake Shore so that we don't have the day that the splash guard was being challenged, Lake Shore Road was underwater. And I'm really concerned about sinkholes because we've got them in the park now. And that's with all of the work that we've done. And without it, I can't even imagine how things would look. So we really do have a safety issue and it's got to get addressed sooner than later.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Improvement Foundation, Brett? Followed by the tree board, too. So.
We're going to do 2 reports tonight for you. As you know, the top lot is moving forward, and Mark and I signed the agreement, we turned back to the contractor last week. And we expect that completion date still on Memorial Day. I did a phone call with him today, but I didn't have it back for the meeting tonight. So I anticipate hearing that very soon. Shifting gears a little bit, we are now at 42 trustees of full roster in the foundation.
Wow.
All right. I'd like to tribute Mr. Money Sokol for that, the new recruitment officer. And another couple people I'd like to mention is Fran and Heidi. They're our dream team. They're working on a new fundraiser for the foundation. The two are great. They're kind of secretive, so you really don't know what they're doing until they pop it on you, but they're doing great. The foundation is on the right uptick, and we're very proud of all of our groups. That's it for the foundation, but the tree board also met last week. And a couple brief items we talked about was the awarding of the Tree City for 15 years this year. So that's quite an honor that we share with 3,500 cities across the nation, which is really not that many. The tree ordinance has been continuing to work on. We're working with Brian on that. We started updating it and giving it a little bit more bite. That's our main goal, to push that tree ordinance some more. We will continue with Brian. And I want to invite Helen up to talk about Arbor Day.
And Tread Day coming up.
That's another one. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Arbor Day is coming up May 5th, Sunday. We are going to have a poster contest like we did last year. It seemed to be so delightful for the kids who got involved and for all of us who judged the posters, the people who saw them at the police department throughout the month of May. So we're doing exactly the same thing, except we've also added grade 2 to our lowest group because of the parents who came to me and said, my little 2-year-old could draw a poster. And so we thought, okay, we'll have them be involved. So our 3 groups this year are going to be 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's one group. 5th and 6th, another group. And 7th and 8th. Each of those 3 groups will have prizes awarded. First prize is a $50 gift certificate. Second prize is a $25 gift certificate. The children, I have to wait. They're in the calendar for the month of May. So those of you who use them, I hope you all do, because it's a great calendar. Take a look at all these absolutely delightful children. Their smiles tell it all. And there they are all the way across with their posters. So that's what we're doing for Arbor Day. What else we're doing for Arbor Day is we're going to be talking about the diversity of trees at the park. Last year, which actually, Brett, was our 15th year, I checked that with Lynn, and she went right to the Arbor Day announcement last year, and they said last year was our 15th year. Again, this year, somehow they think it's still our 15th year. I'm not quite sure how that works. But at any rate, last year we did the diversity of trees around the village. In the medians and on the streets, we had planted 397 trees in the last 15 years for Arbor Day. This year, we're going to be doing the diversity of the trees at the park. And so, it's like a piggyback, the 2 of them together then over the last 2 years. So that's going to be our theme for this year for Arbor Day. Hope you all can come. There's, of course, the fun run. That starts at 9. We come usually around 9 and set up all of our displays. We have quite a few posters, lots of good talk, good information from both the posters and the people involved. Brett comes over and does a great job with the homeowners who plant trees in their yards throughout the year. So it's a great occasion. We are, I think, extremely fortunate to be a Tree City USA. There are many hoops to jump through, and we do that pretty successfully. It involves a tree replacement program, which we have in place. We replace trees every fall, add new trees if a new homeowner comes in and wants a tree on his easement. It's not on private property. That kind of thing is really important for a city. We're a great city. We have many different kinds of trees. And so Arbor Day, we have to be a Tree City USA. That's one of the hoops we have to jump through, is to have an acknowledgement of Arbor Day. So it's a great time. You can learn a lot about trees. Come on over. We're going to be there from about 9 till about 11:15. Come and congratulate the children. They are amazing. We really have amazing children in this village. And as Matt said, it was amazing to me how young the children were at the Easter egg hunt. I've never seen anything like it. There were very few children to give posters to, because from about age 8 and up, there was hardly anybody there. The children who were there at the Easter egg hunt were, I would say, basically 4 or 5 and under, and lots of 2 and 3-year-olds, cute as the dickens. So we have a great group. Now, can I go ahead and say the rest of the things I have to say? All right. 2 other things I want to talk about in addition to Arbor Day. One is Shred Day. I just put up a poster out in the hallway about Shred Day. It is May 11th. I think there might be a town hall that morning, but you can stop by and drop off your shred. The shred truck will be there at 9, so, you know, if that's at 9 o'clock or whenever it is, we will be right across at the park. We are so adept at doing Shred Day. It is amazing, and the reason is we get great help from Grosse Pointe North. The National Honor Society has to do community service as something that they do to become National Honor Society people. So they come over and they help us, and they are amazing. They are on those cars the minute they pull up. The people pop their trunks, or they open their doors, take out the shredding material, ask if they want the boxes back, take the ones that they do want back to the cars. It is a really slick performance. We hardly have any wait, even though we have people in line. We move really fast because of those kids. So I give high marks to Melissa Pierce, is the National Honor Society coordinator over there, and she sets this up for us every year now. And it's a wonderful event. You can dispose of all of your sensitive documents, no plastics, please, just paper. But bank statements, checks, whatever you have that you don't want to just simply throw away in the trash, Shred Day is the day you do it. $5 a box, or a grocery bag full of shred, of paper for us to shred. Very quick in line. So plan to come. It's May 11th. It's a Saturday, from about 9:15 to 11:30. We probably are there a little bit longer than that, but that's about how long it's supposed to last. So that posters out in the hallway. Then the third thing is our Sponsor a Garden project and Planting Day, Doug. Our Sponsor a Garden project is really important this year. We are looking for new sponsors. We are looking for people who have sponsored in the past and maybe kind of fell by the wayside to come back and re-sponsor a garden. We have about 10 gardens yet to sponsor, from what I can tell. Lots of people have already sent in their checks for, it's an annual program. They've already sent in their checks. We are under a lot of duress for Sponsor a Garden this year. And the reason is, number one, the prices at the growers have gone up, and I would say considerably. In some cases, they are over $1 more a flat. That is an enormous increase. The reason is petroleum prices are up. So the growers are paying more for those plastic trays and for the pots that they put things in. That's all petroleum. Those cost the grower more. They pass the price to us. Then, because of the downy mildew that we had about 5, 6, 7 years ago, new seed has been developed for impatiens, which is great news. It's brand new on the market this year. It's called Imara. I went on their website, took a look at it. It looks really good. Another seed company is coming out next year with their version of a downy mildew-proof impatient plant. So we may be on the cusp of having impatiens back, which is wonderful. You can't grow a purple begonia. I'm sorry. They're not there. Only white, pink, red. That's it. They're just those three colors. But impatiens, salmons and apricots and purples and lavenders, it's infinite, the color schemes that there are. So, but we know with any type of new product, there is an initial startup cost. And so all of that is factored into the other plants that are being sold. So the price again for the plugs that the growers grow to supply us with actual plants, then everything goes up. So the price of the plants have gone up, the petroleum prices have gone up, our prices have gone up significantly this year. Then, with all the devastation that we've had over the winter, Sponsor a Garden money will be very important to be part of the restoration project around the village. So we need support. So please help us out. If you can, sponsor a garden. If you've never done it, you'll have a little plaque recognizing you as a sponsor in the garden. We hope we'll get a lot of support so that we can afford to do the things we need to do. We do a good job, I think. Our Sponsor a Garden project is a great way for people to become involved in their community, and they step forward. And so many people have started from year one, and they still are sponsoring that garden for us. So I'm inviting everyone, please help us out, help the village out to keep the gardens looking as good as I think they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen.
Planting Day.
No.
Planting Day on the end of May, Wednesday and Thursday, I think it's the 22nd and 23rd. Our Friday is a rain day. If either Wednesday or Thursday it rains, then Friday is the makeup day. We invite the community to come help us plant. Anyone who likes to plant, I don't think Vito's here today, but he always comes. And then we have a couple other people who have volunteered from the community to try to be there this year too. So those are our days, and we plant the park on Wednesday, and very little for the master gardener to do once we finish that morning over there. And then the next day we come here to the municipal grounds and plant all of the municipal grounds, or most of them. So that takes a real load off the shoulders of our master gardener. So those are our days to plant. We eat pizza on the steps of the municipal building, usually on Thursday. We're a sight to behold. Come help out.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for all you do for our community. Brian, legal report?
Thank you, Mayor. Since the date of the City Council meeting held on March 19th, 2015, our firm, the City Attorney, engaged in the following activities. On behalf of the City, under general municipal matters, we reviewed materials and consulted with the City regarding the status and timing of physical improvements to Oceans Park. We also conferred with the City regarding Planning Commission meeting agenda matters. We conferred with the City regarding the draft dispatch and lockup agreement that's to be negotiated with Grosse Pointe Woods, looking at what provisions of the current dispatch and lockup agreement we want to carry over, which ones we want to modify. We also conducted a review of the 55 South P Plan's development project status, had some conversations with the city engineer, city planner, and of course city manager with respect to that. We consulted with the city regarding finance committee materials that created after the last finance committee meeting in the draft 2019-2020 budget. On the 57 Michaud Court matter, that was the city's vacant lot purchase. We consulted with the city regarding Wayne County's position on tax reverted property sale proceeds, reviewed correspondence from Wayne County regarding educational sessions to be conducted by Wayne County with respect to those types of proceeds. And we also prepared materials to bring with us for an educational session that Wayne County is going to be conducting. We're going to be attending that particular session on May 22nd coming up. There's 5 dates that were offered by, in 5 locations, offered by Wayne County, and it turns out that the May 22nd one is the best for us. I believe that's in Dearborn. On the property dispute between the owners of 866 and 870 Lakeshore Road, we received and we reviewed and commented upon an amended consent judgment that had been filed with the court. There were some factual recitals in the amended consent judgment that had been changed. There were some further recitals that identified parties and claims. The settlement is the same. It's still a no-cost settlement to the city, so it's that matter is really pretty much wrapped up. With regard to the Grosse Pointe Yacht Club boat well leases, we reviewed the several leases that have been in place over a period of time, related materials, attachments and exhibits to the leases, and prepared correspondence with the city regarding the current boat well lease and its provisions. And finally, we conducted our monthly review of the city pension plan report materials, and I frankly can't recall if we commented on this at the last meeting, but we provided the city with information regarding state of Michigan initiatives regarding public employee defined benefit pension plans. My report, and I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Any questions?
I have a couple. In the action that you're talking about, okay, let's go to Michaud. What are we doing with that? I mean, you reviewed something at Wayne County's requirements for deed or property.
Wayne County,
what are we doing?
well, without going into too much detail, Councilwoman, Wayne County has issued a position statement with regard to their treatment going forward of property tax sale proceeds, reverted property tax sale proceeds, and whether those have to be remitted to the county or whether they can be retained.
Okay.
We've essentially granted an amnesty for past. That's all I really want to say on the record right now. That's a matter of closed session discussion we had earlier.
Any other questions? Okay, good report, Brian. Thank you. Mark, your report?
Yeah, if I'm not stealing something someone else can say, they told me 250 people, 125 children, sold to, of course, by the Education Committee, Grosse Pointe Children's Improvement Foundation, and Water and President's Club. But that's, again, with many of the activities here, we have so many volunteers, members of council show up, staff, in some cases are also able to assist, and it makes it fun days for those people who come to participate. We are exploring, this came up at the Finance Committee, Purple Heart City recognition, and this will tie to the mayor's suggestion for a Veterans Day recognition. It's a little simpler, it's a little more complex than just passing a resolution, but we started the process to follow up. Over those, by putting a note in the last newsletter for the last summer months, we received 3 responses of veterans from the community. So we're slowly getting it developed and a list of them. I think we sent the council a note that somehow we were listed in the top 100 safest small towns in America. With our police station and public safety statistics, how anybody can be that, supposedly done around the whole country. The Park Road, again, I don't want to steal things that others may say, but you see the core in front, we go let that settle, and then the actual guys come back in, but we're making real progress across the street and getting these letters. The chief and I, staff will review, draft, job descriptions for the parks director, talking to folks next week, and one of the people. We have half a dozen, give or take, one or two, different proposals. We've been calling to these folks that will be connected in the community along here. And so we'll talk to them shortly. Full Circle will be our next month. The mayor and I received the request that he initiated with the other mayors asking the War Memorial to justify basically what they did over the last 10 years. That contract expired in December. We just got the packet today. I was in line. We just got yours tonight. They give us some numbers, but again, they received about 20,000 in checks for last year. Yeah, maybe. I only looked at again, similar things. We'll review their numbers. Last year, around this particular quite an in-depth report, which we submitted to the National Government Finance Officers Association, and we just received word last week that we were given the award, the National Government Finance Officers Association, and this may have been mentioned really interesting that the National Association thought we were a book meeting, and our plaque reads, even though they're giving us a new one, Grosse Pointe Blank. So, I think it's pretty neat that we consider it a book meeting.
Any questions for Mark?
I got just one more. Can you, and Brett, what you were talking about this afternoon, and there was one back there in the road sign, road crossing. When are they gonna clean that up? I mean, that's such an eyesore. It's been like that for, that could have been taken care of probably.
Well, this has been like a widescreen spectacular years in the making. Edison, for some reason, this was not, that work was not done. It's 2 years ago, that should have been. And the pile of the dirt of the thing that was done, the connection, will be done short. As soon as the connection is done, then we'll do that. And I think Brett is actually looking at another example of cooperation for that. That will be done.
Good. Well, congratulations, Rhonda, on that recognition by a national group. Very, very fine work. Mark, on the tennis courts, do we have an issue? I haven't looked at them lately, but is the contractor coming back?
We'll punch list for that along with the budget. But I haven't been on there the next day. I did get the contract.
There's a couple of sinkholes that left me be there, that's all. Like, there was some settling.
Okay, good, thanks.
When will park passes become available for pickup?
Very shortly. I believe we finally got the software installed and working with the clerk downstairs, front down. Usually someone on council putting in the same features number one and I think number two. I haven't got number two yet, so I don't think we got number one yet. Very sure. But we just got the software.
You have a mail-in.
Yeah, the applications were mailed out. We've had a
No,
lot
I
of
mean,
people from
last year the park passes came,
No, I think you had to pick it up.
No, you have to pick them up.
I didn't pick mine up last year.
Well, you get special treatment.
That's because all of ours are late.
Your picture is on the wall.
What are the requirements for pickup? So somebody comes in to pick up,
Make sure you have to go out on your page.
Right.
That you are who you are, and then you pick them.
okay, so,
Then you pick them up to the kitchen.
well, that's what I'm asking now, because that's where we're getting into some problems. People are picking up, saying they're for my parents, but they're actually picking them up for themselves. Their parents don't either use the park or that kind of thing.
Ellen, do you want to add something?
I don't think that's correct, but we'll verify that.
Newsletter says they're gonna mail park passes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, thanks, Rhonda, for that explanation. Okay. Old business, none, new business. Mark, do you want to explain
Yes,
this?
This is an opportunity, Brett, sits on county transportation, there's a potential grant available. This is worth putting an application for. We don't know yet whether it's going to be part of the issues with southeast sanitary. We pay for extra flow and things like that. But we had always planned to the finance and there's an opportunity to get up to $250,000 on $1.3 million.
Is this the park committee, the federal aid
This is not.
committee?
This is for local roads. It's just a small grant that happened to be available that thought something that we might be interested in and might be able to get some money. I know that's something the council's been talking about doing Oxford Road in the future. And again, this is a transportation grant. It would be good for the pavement. Something we could this whole project. This is one of the things usually apply for the grants to get them this. One of the requirements is they go to council. So that's what I did today.
And the main purpose is to really dig below and repair the main or replace the main?
This grant is just for transportation. Again, it's $250,000 grant. On that particular road, I think that's where we try to put it because that road does need infrastructure. And I think, to be honest, I think that's why we would be high on the list. If they see the city's putting a lot of money into that road, they may be more apt to award us the grant. So typically you throw that stuff out there and see who bites. Unfortunately, in this case, you're being made aware of it before we know if they're will be eligible for it or not.
So we don't know if we'll be eligible, but this puts us in a position at least to.
Yeah, I should rephrase. We are eligible. I just
Alright.
don't know if we'll get it.
Oh, okay. Are there any other questions? It sounds like a good plan. I mean, it's found money. Of course, we gotta match it, but
If we were planning on matching or doing the project anyway, it might be a great thing for us. So we'll see what happens.
this is one we talked about bonding, wasn't it? On Oxford? Okay, is there a motion to approve the signing of this resolution by
So
the?
moved.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Mark. Public comments. We have any public comments? Oh, you're bringing your briefcase. Boy. You're gonna be here a while.
Good evening, council. I'm here to talk about Deeplands and about the progress of the non-progress that I've received from the various consultants on our engineering plans. As you all know, we voted to approve our plat tentative approval in November. That allowed our company to proceed with our engineering work. We completed those engineering drawings and plans. We submitted them to Hummel Roth and Clark. I hand-delivered them to the office with the permission of Tom Kozak, the building department, and sent an email over there. HRC is near our engineering office, so I just dropped them off. Subsequent to that, Boone County was closed over the holidays. I delivered reports to them January 2nd. Within about 5 weeks, we sat down with Pickmat Casino, who is the head of the engineering department of Wayne County, to go over some items that we want corrected to our plan. Basically, cross your T's, dot your I's. There was nothing that was revised. None of the underground detention, none of the sewers were revised. They wanted some new standard details submitted, detailing some of the manholes, the manhole cutters, so on and so forth. We received a letter from Wayne County this past about 2 weeks ago, and I asked to be put on the April agenda of the Planning Commission. As part of that process, I called Tom and asked him for the update of the letters that the consultants are supposed to provide in their review of our engineering from the land planner in Grosse Pointe Shores, I think it's Carlisle Whitman, at the HRC. If you review the ordinance, these letters are supposed to be provided within 30 days of plans being dropped off at the city, which would have been the third week of January. As of today, Carlisle Wortman has not provided a letter. It's over 120 days from when I dropped it off. My question is, why are we dealing with part-time, semi-retired, non-residents who can't get out a report to look at a plan that basically hasn't changed since September when Mary Matuja's committee approved it at the Planning Commission last September? Nothing has changed, not one dimension on the lots, roads, nothing has changed. Yet Carlisle Wortman has taken 120 days and done nothing. And by ordinance, it's required to do it within 30 days. After we met with Wayne County, and by the way, Wayne County is responsible for reviewing the underground detention system that was required to put in because of the Federal Clean Water Act. It's the only one in Grosse Pointe Shores. The Clean Water Act's been around for a long time, but they've just been enforcing it for the last number of years. So all the other subdivisions and roads that we put in, just put in a storm sewer, go straight out to the lake, now we have to have this detention system. Wayne County reviews that. When that system is installed, Wayne County's engineers review the installation, not HRC. Hummel Roth and Clark has got nothing to do with that. Yet in January, I got a phone call from Jesse Vandercreek who said, Rich, your detention system is 40% under capacity. I said, how can that be? He said, your engineer only designed it for a 10-year storm, not a 100-year storm as required by the Federal Clean Water Act. I called Warner Cantrell and Padmas, and I said to him, Rick, you screwed up. You messed this up. He called me back in an hour and a half to drop him. He said, no. He replies, I said, yeah. Wayne County, a couple weeks later, confirmed that And they said, no, you're not under capacity, you're over capacity. Not a lot, but we're over capacity as required. You do your calculus, there's some kind of a 100-year storm is really a, it's some kind of, it's described as it's got to be so many inches of rain or whatever it is. I don't know the details, but the engineers do. We designed the system correctly, Wayne County approved it. Why did Hummer Auto Park call me and tell me we were 40% under capacity? Why would you do that? They're smart guys over there. It's just a numbers thing. And then I asked them about it a couple weeks ago, and I didn't get an answer. So where's the delay? What's going on here? We've done 9 subdivisions in Grosse Pointe. This is number 9. In the 40 years that I've been working with. 5 of which were Grosse Pointe Farms. And of those 5, they've all been reviewed by HRC, because they're the engineer for Grosse Pointe Farms. From purchase agreement, final plat recording, or final master deed, in case of Windermere, they were all done within 15 months or less. This project, as of June 20th, will be 36 months, 3 years. We haven't got a hold of it yet. What's going on? Why is this taking so long? I know what I'm doing. HRC, I think, knows what they're doing because they got it done in Grosse Pointe Farms. Why is this being slower? Now, let's look at it from an economics point of view. If you take a piece of property that we bought, and when I say purchase agreement, we don't have to buy the property to get in front of a council. A purchase agreement allows us, gives us the right to make a presentation. We don't have to buy the property first. Apparently here we have to buy the property. I don't know. But let's look at it for a minute. The last year that a property is used for its prior purpose, whether it's estate, vacant land, whatever it might be. And the first year when the property is fully developed, completely built out, 32 homes, 16 homes, whatever it might be, the taxes thrown off by that project increased by a factor of 6 to 8 times. I can't demonstrate that tonight, but I can tell you if you want to do the research, go down and talk to Shane and have him dig it up for you. Look at what Mr. Ford paid for his property before we did Windermere. And Mrs. Sheldon, what she paid for her property on taxes before we did Briarwood first. We'll find out what we paid and what it is now throwing off. This is on a yearly basis. This isn't a one-off event. Grosse Pointe Shores is currently foregoing taxes to the village alone in the neighborhood of $12,000 to $14,000 per month of future taxes that are not going to come back to you because every month this goes on, it's another month to fully develop the property. We're almost 2 years into the project where you guys have lost the ability to recoup these taxes. I hear rumors about somebody wants to raise taxes in Grosse Pointe Shores. What's the most efficient way to do that? Redevelopment. Why is this taking so long? My application, I sent an email along with the copy of the Wayne County letter to the village offices. I received an email back saying I was past the deadline for the April Planning Commission meeting. Because it was after 21 days. There's nothing in your ordinance that requires a 21-day notice to be put on the agenda of the Planning Commission. If someone wants to tell me where it is, I'd like to see it. Section 116, I don't know what it is, but it talks about the 30 days for the planners. They didn't comply. Where's the penalty for that? Is it automatically approved? Or does he get as much time as he just chooses and he can ignore the ordinance? We've been asked to comply with the ordinance. Bruce has said, stay within the 4 corners of the ordinance, and you're good to go. Okay, we're good to go. Well, why aren't we? Can you tell me, Brian, why we can't get on the agenda in April?
Rich, about all I can tell you is that I've read some letters from the city, emails from the city planner on the one hand, city engineer on the other. And in both cases, there's serious concerns on both of their parts with the timing and sufficiency of the materials that have been provided to date, number one. Concerns with the city not receiving advance copies of the materials for dissemination to the city planner and the city engineer and marching orders accordingly. I know they need sufficient time to review the reports that they create, and the planning commission needs sufficient time, and the city needs sufficient time to review the reports, and then get it to the planning commission for further review. The section of the ordinance you're referring to is 16-75.
But 16-113D about the 30 days.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the city planning commission's review of the materials and turnover of those materials to.
What section are you referring to?
16-75 preliminary plat plan.
The 21 days.
I'm not talking about the 21 day, and I don't want to get into legal arguments here on the record with you about it. You asked me if I knew the reasons for the delay as you cast it, and that's what I know today.
I know that the email that I received, that all of you received, if you read it, and you read my response to that email, so that the affected neighbors have to be notified. And my response was, does that mean all the taxpayers in Grosse Pointe Shores? Or is it 2 or 3 people on South Deeplands that's got somebody's ear?
I think as a practical matter, that can be dealt with at the planning commission review.
In April? In April?
No, May, because of the time, but it can be dealt with, and it can be dealt with by the invitation for public comment at that time, as opposed to a more formal notification.
There
that you would
is
have
no
in the-
requirement in the ordinance or state statute that requires a public hearing. Now, open to the public is
You're
one
missing
thing.
the point. You're missing the
I
point.
don't believe that.
There's no requirement for it, but there's also no prohibition on the planning commission chairman on the one hand, or the city council, the mayor on the other, when it gets to city council, there's no prohibition in either case to them asking for public comment.
Agreed. But the email stated that we needed to have time to notify the neighbors. We needed to have time to publish in the newspaper. There's nothing in the ordinance, yet I'm required to follow the ordinance, but yet the city administration, if they want to delay it, well, here's our reason why, because we have to publish in the paper. There is no statutory requirement or codified requirement. That was done at Mary's meeting in September by ordinance, and Ted, you've always told me that state law requires the planning commission has to be part of the governmental interest of the village and move forward.
That's
We
correct.
followed those requirements. That wasn't 21 days, that was 30 days prior to those. Because of publication issues and notification issues, that was covered. We did that accordingly. Now we're told, well, you're 21 days. Now we gotta wait till the end of May. This delay is causing us a hardship, financial hardship, to keep drawing this on. Who are the winners and losers, Ed? Who's won in this process? The city's lost over $300,000 in taxes. You're never gonna see it. We're losing interest, of course, for property taxes. I understand all that. So we're losing. You're losing. Who's winning on this thing?
If I might.
Oh, Ted, or Matt, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm a couple of things. There's 16 lots, and I believe that you've already got half of them spoken for, right?
Well, the longer it goes on, people are gonna go walk away. Mr. Man, you took his place. I'm not messing with the man's name. He moved to the west side. He wanted to build a house. He didn't wanna wait. He left town.
Right. But
No,
point
he
is,
moved back, I think he's ready now.
the
Is he
point.
back?
No,
I'll
the
give him a
point
call.
is that of the 16 lots, you have 8 spoken for.
I do.
And people are worried about how long this project's gonna take. Well, it's not like you're gonna build one house and then try to sell another lot. I mean, you're ready to go on 8 properties, and really, the delaying of this is really just delaying us starting to create a revenue stream of new taxes, right?
Not only revenue stream, but let's talk about the school systems. Okay, I talked to you about you're losing 12 to 14,000 a month. School system's losing over 16 to 18,000 a month. You guys writing that down? Okay, they're looking for, and Ted, you keep saying we want new families in the village. We want kids in the village. We want them to go to the park. Not only is the taxes going to help the school system, but each kid that goes gets state revenue sharing to help the school system. And here it is, month after month after month, and nothing happens. And yes, I've got a lot of lots spoken for. I've got some people that want to build it. We're not building one at a time. One of the big concerns from the neighbors from day one was this project's going to take too long. Are you kidding me? If this had been Grosse Pointe Farms, I would have had people living there by now. I really would have had people living in homes by now. But for some reason in Grosse Pointe Shores, it's got to take 3 years and we haven't even gotten started yet. Very disappointing, very disappointing. We are lifelong residents of Grosse Pointe Shores. My wife's been a lifelong, I've been here 31 years.
Mary, is it possible to call a special meeting if we can't do one in April so that we can get the ball moving? Okay.
Do you think the delay from the last year was fault, even though we had to go to court with you over delaying the cul-de-sac? Do you think that's our fault that there was a year?
Is there
involved
a
in that?
fault? You asked me to stay within the four corners of the ordinance?
But you started out that way, so
Alright.
there was a court case
Yes.
litigated, that still, there is still litigation on your part, not with us, but with other parties. So the delay, if you will, when you say that it's because of bureaucratic snafus, bureaucratic laissez-faire, whatever you want to call it, that's not exclusively true for the entire delay of this period. When you submitted your request initially, it was denied because it violated the variance. We would not grant a variance. And we went to court over it. That consumed probably a year, correct?
Incorrect, Bruce. For the record, it was
Oh,
not,
was it?
it was not a variance request, it was a deviation.
Okay, a deviation.
Now, hold on, there's a huge difference.
No, there
And
isn't a difference
no,
because you lost and you didn't prevail and you chose to pursue it. That delay was on your part because you felt that was the plan you wanted. You felt that we were incorrect.
Correct.
Correctly or wrongfully, we prevailed in court.
Right.
So that consumed a year.
First of all, that the deviation is within the four corners of the ordinance. We asked the request, we were
You
turned down,
lost.
and we lost.
Okay, so
Now,
when
hold
we're
on.
talking about the merits of relitigating, I'm talking about a timeline.
Right.
Of 36 months, you're arguing that it's our responsibility
No.
for 36 months. That's your implication.
I'm telling you the
correct?
realities here. Now, we asked
Wait,
and
wait.
asked for village council to negotiate with us. Settle it. Let's meet at the table, let's break bread, let's meet at the table, and let's come to a reasonable solution
As for what?
as to whether we want to go with the 18-lot plan or something different. And we were denied that opportunity. You refused the request to sit down with us. We didn't, you forced our issue. We said, we're not sold on 18. Let's come up with a different plan that actually meets the needs of everybody. And the city said, no, we won't talk to you. We will not talk to you. We had to go finish the process. We had to go and see what the judge said. We lost. Now we're back here.
We asked you to bring in a revised plan of the planning commission way back when, because the cul-de-sacs were too long.
We had, okay,
And you said,
Robert,
no, I want it this way.
Robert, we had our plan number one. The first thing, actually, when we came in here 3 years ago, and we said, what is it gonna take to get a plan approved in Grosse Pointe Shores? Mr. Wallenweber told myself and Jennifer, you get it approved by Wayne County, and we'll approve it. That's what he said. You know how many plans I've had, preliminary plans have been submitted to Wayne County? 4. All 4 have been approved. How many have you seen? You've seen 2. Because the administration didn't forward those other 2 plans for your review. He took the political decision-making process that's empowered to you out of your hands. You don't even know about the other 2 plans. There were 4 plans submitted to Wayne County. 1, 2, 3, now the 4th one we have now. Please. Okay, we're running circles. We're chasing our tail, trying to get a plan that's going to be compliant. Robert, you said bring another plan. Fine. Wayne County okays it. The administration said we're not going to forward it to the council. I've got the 4 plans in my office stamped, approved by Wayne County. Should I bring them in?
No, you're not understanding the point. The point is this. I'm not telling you that the city hasn't been releasing slow or dragging it through or whatever. I think it's been slow. But the perception that they're trying to put across is that for 36 months it's been the exclusive failure of this city, its council, and its administrators to enable you to go ahead and produce your project.
Okay.
That is not
That's not what it,
factually correct.
that's not factually correct. There's been a little give and take. We've been asking for consideration, and we haven't got it. I came back with a plan. It's a good plan. Not the plan I want, probably not the plan the neighbors want. It's gonna be the plan that gets put in. The point is, we're here tonight, and yet I've still got administrators telling me that we've got to wait 21 days to publish in a newspaper, and it's not even in the ordinance. So where's this make-believe stuff coming up? Why are these fairy tales being put out to me in an email saying that I've got to comply with a notice to the neighbors who are affected, and I've got to publish in the newspaper, which is not correct. So therefore, Rich, you can't get on the agenda this month. You've got to wait till next month. Well, what's going to come up next month? I'll tell you what's going to come up next month. Okay? The planner's going to come up with an opinion that the landscaping is incorrect. Or the city engineer's going to come up with an opinion that the Wayne County approval is incorrect. Something of their opinions. And they're going to expect you to buy it and say, well, gee, this is their opinion. We can go ahead and approve it because our planner said we couldn't. Be careful of that. Just so you remember, there's a handshake agreement between the city and Deeply as far as the landscaping goes. And that handshake agreement was that Brett Marshall and Brian Coulter would design a landscape plan, and we'd both live with it. We presented that in November, and Ted asked, could you supplement that plan by putting bushes along the west property line? We've complied with that plan. In fact, I've got a copy of it right here. We've got 15 copies upstairs. You can see that. So we've already supplemented what Ted requested in November. Now, as far as the landscaping goes, we've got an agreement. I don't want to hear what the land planner's got to say about the landscaping, because that's not part of what he was supposed to review. That's a separate agreement between the city and us. Right? But let's move forward. How soon can we get this on the agenda? Can we do a special meeting? Can we get this going in time to get it approved by the planning commission, get the minutes approved, and then put it in front of the May council meeting?
I'd like to make a comment here in this time without interruption.
Go ahead.
I think the quickest and easiest way to get to the heart of this is to get on all fours with the city planner and with the city engineer as to what they see as efficiencies in terms of what has been submitted to date. That can be done pretty quickly. Once that's done, and we have to go back in time too. You go back to your preliminary plat tentative approval back in September, and there were 11 conditions attached. What you're supposed to do when it goes back to the planning commission is have addressed all 11 conditions. I'm not commenting this moment on whether or not those 11 conditions have been satisfied or not. All I can tell you is that the city engineer and the city planner in significant detail both disagree with your interpretation of whether or not what you have submitted to date is adequate or timely for both. So I think over the next week we ought to get on the telephone, do our best with the holiday coming up, etc. But nevertheless, get those things straightened out, get those things addressed. You both have very good, both parties have very good engineers. Your engineers are very good. HRC is very good. They both know what they're doing. The city planner knows what he's doing, despite your comments about. I think we need to get to that point first, Mr. Russell, and then we can move forward. But putting this on before April, or before May rather, we'll just end up in another go back to the drawing board. That's not in anybody's interest.
If you know deficiencies I don't, who wrote a letter, and how do you know about these deficiencies? Because I haven't seen anything, and it's been 120 days since that.
Again, I'm not commenting on the substance of it. I'm commenting on the fact that yourself submitted when, how many versions have been submitted, do the resubmitted versions have changes in them from the earlier versions. There's confusion, part of confusion, frankly. And you and I talked about this in personal conversation. Part of confusion is going to this one and this one and this one and this one and trying to get it and dividing them. And that's not the way to do this. If we can do this in an orderly, logical, linear fashion.
Get done when? It's been 36 months. There's a reason for this that's got to get done faster. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to September. Okay, this should be done within a year. We should have a hole in the ground.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So what's going on? Why does it take 5 months to get engineering approved from Wayne County, from the HRC?
Well, I think you were supposed to have some meetings in January with HRC and you canceled them after, or not canceled them, but said, we're not ready yet, so we need to push it over.
Not true. maybe what we should do is if you get a feedback from one of your planners or from someone else saying that Rich said this, Rich said that, give me a call. Because someone said, I also heard that Bill's still here. Well, I mean, you might not be able to call me, but Ted can call me, Bruce can call me.
I mean, that's not the point. Can we work this through with, you're concerned with legalities, I'm concerned with practicality. And I'm saying, maybe we ought to have Bill in the mix too, so we all on the same page and get this done together. Limit linear tonight. Instead of
I don't want it to be piecemeal. I want to get approval and I want to get my permits.
we're beyond all.
Rich, that sounds sensible. I think a conference call with all the affected parties and to see if there's an exception or to see if there's any deficiencies and see how fast it can be moved.
Back to the if possible. Can you, Mayor, you can set the agenda. You can call a special meeting of the Planning Commission.
Well, I think anybody could initiate it. I think the only, there's a procedure for it. I don't know, Brian, I don't pretend to know the charter.
You can or you can't.
That's a fair response. I'm sorry, Martin.
Part of the things that you said are, we agreed in terms of landscaping, we also agreed that since that time, we were gonna go to Wayne County. We set up meetings with the engineers and others, and those were canceled by you, according to the communications I had from the engineers. We brought consultants will tell the city and also that as of the plan, yes, you are not our you are petitioners.
That's what the consultants are for. Right. HRC is supposed to be a review by a week from Friday.
Okay.
The Okay, let's go back.
The new information, since you've been in contact with them since we forwarded the material to them.
That was a phone call.
Usually I hear that information. The exact day or two, you
Jesse,
that'd be great.
upset with Carlisle Ward because it says 30 days. I tell you, nothing changed on the site plan, nothing. So if you would have reviewed it, and Tom had a copy on the 22nd of December, said he was going to disseminate it to the various planners, he had a legal obligation to do that review in January. He didn't do it. I don't know why. He could have had any questions, he could have provided to me and to you in January. So, Bruce, I get it. You know, we want to move this along, and I hope the village wants to move it along. But if we do it according to the ordinance, it will go a whole lot faster.
Gary, do you want to add something? You mentioned. Okay.
When is your meeting scheduled for April? And for May, about, it's the end of May?
The day after Memorial Day, 5 days. And the earliest you could get approved would be June, provided there was a special meeting to approve the planning commission minutes prior to the whatever upcoming council meeting would be following that planning commission. I can't do anything as far as permits go until the council gives us permission to proceed.
Brian, is there something you could check to see whether or not a special permit is even available for this relief that Richard? I have a question. As far as the scheduling of the planning commission meetings, doesn't it make sense that they should occur prior to the city council meetings so that we don't have this situation? Okay.
Yeah, right, about that. Okay. I mean, can we all agree, let's get this wrapped up, let's get going.
Well, I want
on
to
what
create some
needs to be-
taxpayers. That's what I'm
Yeah.
interested in.
How soon after all the permits, I mean, I know we're kind of pushing it out a little bit, would you break ground on the first property?
All right, for practical purposes, we're going to say that at the earliest we could get approval would be in the May council meeting, possibly June. If the city would allow us to apply for permits, and it's up to, and Mark Wollenover has to sign off on the sanitary permit application, which we could do. We don't have to wait for a final approval. We can do this consecutively and not sequentially. So there's ways to move this process forward. Getting a permit can take up to 2 months.
I'm not clarifying what I'm not sure what I have to sign off on.
Jesse Van de Creek told me that the application for the sanitary sewer district, the Southeast Michigan sewer district, he fills out the form, he fills out the application.
It has to go to, I'm not sure that I don't think that, I'll check with Jesse to be sure, but we have the Southeast Macomb Sanitary District, and that's the milk of the zone, which we took over the main town system. So, these are city consultants, and I appreciate your interest in speeding things along. Since the consultants are over the city, I'd like to make sure, and they're the same information that we do. And I'll take that up.
I would agree that you'd have to confirm this information with Jesse. He told me that. So we could do this sequentially. We can, consecutively at the same time. There's a way to just move it along, yeah, as quickly as possible.
But getting back to her question, let's say we get through all of that.
Right.
How long before you start
your project.
All right, well, once we've got the plans in place, I'm gonna keep putting it out for multiple bids. I've already got one bid back, but I would probably get 2 or 3. Schedule them based on our anticipated approvals with as far as the permits go, okay? So if we got approval by Labor Day or by Memorial Day, June, July, probably sometime in August we can break ground. Takes about 2 months to put in the improvements. Sewer, water, paving. September, October. I'm lucky to get basements in this fall. And we're gonna shut down until next March again, a year from now. Maybe you understand my frustration. If you think about the timing of what has to happen between now and when I can actually record the plat and dig a basement, forgive me, but I'm a little, I wanna move this along. And no personal insults intended to anybody. And you're right, Bruce, there was a little give and take on this whole process.
You're not even gonna buy the contract with the roads and
Oh, yeah. Sorry. But this, pouring the concrete's about a 2-day process. That's not a big project as far as paving, we're not doing I-75, okay?
Just find the guys that will show up.
They'll show up, they do it, it's about a 2 or 3 day pour and they're done.
All right.
Our underground contractor does all the prep
See,
work.
you wanna know when those homes are gonna be in the tax roll?
I'm sorry?
You wanna know when the homes will be in the tax roll?
Right.
Over a year from
Over a year.
Yeah.
I know, but if we don't get something started, it's not going to happen. So
State
let's,
of construction is gonna be.
Well, I could do basements this fall. Now, there's other options. In the city, before we actually get the whole thing done, they can start issuing building permits. There's a lot of ways we can work together. We can work as a team to move the process forward. And I haven't got that feeling at all from Grosse Pointe Shores. Sorry,
Well,
I just
that
haven't.
I think that started with, we represent the adjoining property. There's a lot of friction about cul-de-sacs. That's why many states so wonderful ordinance. You are have immunity to go forward because you're in compliance. My advice to you is to maintain that going forward because you're still going to have a lot of concerns about construction. When you've built in areas like this before, finished neighborhood
This will be the 90th time I've done it in Worcester, and I hear about it. I do. But we also have to remember that as long as I'm doing a lawful activity, that issued by a lawful permit from the Village of Grosse Pointe Shores to build a home, it's the obligation of the village to inform those neighbors that a builder, whether it be on Lake Shore or on Deeplands, is in his right to do that, quit bugging us. Because just calling 911 because we're cutting trees down, I think isn't that against the law, call 911 an abuse of the system? But then I'm the one that gets it in the ear because the neighbors are calling. We're doing a lawful activity. So I've already seen that a number of times, okay? And I get it.
I can guarantee that you'll have a lot of the people binoculars and documenting the activities that transpire. My advice to you is endeavor to be the best neighbor that you can be in the village or in the city.
Rich, you asked a question a minute ago, if we can work together and partner together. I want to tell you that at least in my view, and I feel the rest of the council and staff feel this way, we want that relationship. We want to see this be a successful project. We want it to run well for the community, and we want it to be as non-disruptive as possible to the people in the neighborhoods that are impacted by the actual construction itself. So I don't want you to feel as though there's some type of attitude that we are trying to supplant the endeavor. It's not the case.
Well, I don't want to, I've spent a half hour up here, it's time to go home. But the point is that this is the only forum I have to come and talk to you guys. And I think there should be another way that I should be able to have a liaison, perhaps, with councilmen. Call and say, here's my issue right now. Can you figure it out for me and get back to me? That way we're not taking up public hearing time. Ted, is that a problem for you if I asked Matt to be a liaison? Could I do that? Let's say, can I call him with my
Like
issues?
an
and he-
ombudsman or something?
Kind of like, he could be a quasi-ombudsman for this, at least to get the process started.
I think that's, personally, I think it's fine. We have a chain of command, we have a city administration. The role of the council is to be advisors to the council, to set policy, and the city administrator to the,
But they're not. I'm sorry. In my opinion, they're not.
well, you are certainly a taxpayer, if you're welcome to share anything. Or others that don't agree with you. So you have a moment to address it.
I don't. Well, let's move this forward, and, so who's getting back to me on the letters? Who's getting back to me on are we gonna have perhaps a?
Well, the conference call, I think, is.
How about a meeting upstairs? Get the planners out here. And we'll talk about it before there is a planning commission meeting, and go through any discrepancies that, you know, I don't think any exist, but.
I don't see any,
City attorney.
yeah.
As soon as we
That would be
have
your-
the reports from.
Well, I don't have a problem with it. Pardon me, Mark, I'm sorry. I don't have any problem with having a meeting like that. We've done it before, and now that we've got a lot of the kinks worked out, the next meeting should be more productive rather than less.
I think it may be beneficial to get all the players in the same room at the same table, so that we don't get into this triangulation that's kind of current.
Agreed.
Whether it's on purpose or not, I just think that if everybody agrees, hey, look, the reason that we're stopped is because we're missing documents A, B, and C, and then it's on that date that's been recorded, and then we'll move forward from there.
Can I suggest a week from Friday? Mr. Van de Creek said he'd have his letter ready. Can we get a hold, that's a week and a half from now, and I'm sure that their schedules aren't that full, where they can't meet here at the Village of Grosse Pointe Shores on that Friday. I can have my attorney here, or not. Mr. Reynolds doesn't have to be here.
I think it'd probably be best if all.
Or if he
parties
wanted to be here, that's fine with me, I don't care. But the point. But I mean, it's a planning issue, it's not a legal issue.
Right, no,
Right?
No, but I think up to this point, we've spent more money and more dollars on the legalities, so why not finish this off and make sure it's done?
How about a week from
Right.
Friday?
That, I'm not part of it, so
Mayor?
that you would have to work.
I don't see any problem.
Work
Can you
their
can you
secretary.
ask your staff to schedule it for a week from Friday?
Mark, are you, is that gonna work?
Don't know about checking the schedule. Not usually here, but he knows more from Jesse, than I seem to, which I'll
Jesse
find out tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay.
And if his report is done, certainly the day before we go to the
Mark's typically not here on Fridays, so if we could do it on a Thursday, it'd
Yes,
probably
sir.
be better.
Thursday would be great.
And maybe Jesse can have his letter ready on Thursday.
20.
I think that's a good idea.
All right, so we're gonna shoot for that date. Sometime, we'll let,
We'll let you know.
Good.
and let us know by when.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Once
Okay.
I talk to Jesse and, Carl Wilson, to make sure we have good materials, we'll get copies of it. I don't see why we can't move the week from Thursday.
Okay, good. Very good.
Okay, Rich, thanks for coming.
Mayor, thank you for your time. I'm sorry it took longer than I thought.
That's okay.
There's Jordan's.
Um,
You don't want to go.
Okay, thanks, Rich.
Thanks,
Rich. Any more public comment? Okay, if not, council comments, Bob?
I have nothing for them,
Matt?
I'm all set.
Tina?
Nothing.
Bruce?
Just everybody Thursdays, the finance committee, you're welcome to come.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Mr.
My
Mayor.
God, you can
No
say it
one
again.
else said it.
I just was reminded I do have a comment. For the,
I'd be
Fourth
disappointed
of,
without it.
for the 4th of July concert that's been planned, we originally set a goal to have 25 sponsors at $1,000 each, which will ultimately pay for the entertainment at the concert and also pay completely for the fireworks so that the yacht club doesn't have to endure that burden anymore. So Mark and Aaron Wagner from the yacht club, Billy Rafool and myself met and had lunch, and between Mark and Billy Rafool, we're at $18,000 in value raise.
Wow, wow. Good work, good work.
Good work.
Thanks, Matt. Doug?
Thanks for reminding us.
Happy Easter.
Couple comments. you wouldn't know it from the weather, but summer's right around the corner. Next Saturday, April 27th, our swim team registration will be held here between 9:30 and 11 o'clock. The Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is Thursday, May 2nd at the Grosse Pointe Yacht Club in the main ballroom. It's a nice event. Tickets are available upstairs. We talked about the Arbor Day Fun Run, Sunday, May 5th, followed by the Grosse Pointe Wood Shores Little League Parade. Melissa Champagne has done a great job of attracting the young children, boys and girls, of our community into probably one of the finest programs in the state of Michigan. This is a program that last year qualified our all-star team to go to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and actually won a game. In fact, they won 2 games. And a game that they lost against Hawaii, Hawaii was the eventual international champion. So, I mean, kudos to them, and I think we'll have a nice turnout for the parade. Town Hall, May 11th, the Saturday just before the next council meeting. Again, it'll be focused on finances, our budget, some of the steps that we're looking at to, try to deal with, the difficult general times that we're in. And I also want to say Happy Easter to everyone, too. The next meeting is Tuesday on May 21st.